When Emperor Honorius died in 423, his nephew succeeded him. But the nephew, Valentinian III, was still a child, so Valentinian's mother, Galla Placidia, and sister to Honorius, served as regent, and therefore she was the ruler of the Western Roman Empire. Under Galla Placidia's leadership, and I'm pronouncing her name in the Latin rather than the Italian way. Under her leadership, arts and architecture flourished in Ravenna, Italy, including the building that we're looking at, the Galla Placidia Mausoleum. Commissioned sometime between 425 and 450, it was originally connected to the Church of the Holy Cross, which no longer exists. Today, the mausoleum is next to the Basilica of San Vitale, which we will visit in another posting. Galla is buried in Rome, not here, and it's thought that this mausoleum was probably built to honor St. Lawrence, but its original purpose is really not known. We will talk more about that once inside. The building is not large, and the exterior is modest, as are most of these Ravenna early Christian buildings. It is made of masonry brick and was probably once covered with marble slabs. The building has a cruciform shape with a central dome and 4 transepts. A lantern center covers the interior dome. And like many of Ravenna's early Christian structures, the inside is spectacular. Indeed, the architecture is overshadowed by the famous mosaics inside. Inside, we are surrounded with glimmering mosaics representing various Christian images. The dome is a celestial explosion of 8-pointed stars swirling in circles around a jeweled cross. The arches are filled with the blue and gold mosaics, framing the apostles, and the blue and gold colors continue in the barrel vaults. The lunettes tell more religious stories, some of which remain unsolved. Images such as doves and deer and vines are carried over from the days when Christianity was illegal, and Christian artists relied on allegorical symbols whose meanings would only be understood by those within the faith. For example, the vines are a symbol of the Eucharist, as well as the Gospel of John, where Jesus says, "I am the vine, and you are the branches." Mosaics had existed for over 1,000 years, but putting them on a ceiling rather than on the floor was innovative. Indeed, this is one of the earliest places where mosaics on a ceiling are still intact. They have been maintained, but with no significant changes or renovations since first installed. When you first enter, this is the image in front of you. Traditionally, it is thought to represent St. Lawrence. The swirling robe mimics the flames of the fire, the instrument of his martyrdom. And on the left, a closet holds the books of the 4 Gospels. Yet, at least one scholar gives this image a very different interpretation. She believes that the figure is Christ, as evidenced by his holding the cross in the Bible and by the gold halo around his head. In subsequent years, saints and prophets will all have a gold halo, but at this point in time, only Christ was represented with this attribute. Under this interpretation, the fire would be a symbol of heavenly transformation. Under 2 of the arches, pairs of deer drink from a body of water, a symbol of baptism and a thirst for eternal life. The vines, as noted earlier, are a symbol of the Eucharist. St. Paul is on our left, identified by his thinning dark hair and scroll, and St. Peter on our right is identified by his white hair and the keys that he holds. They both gesture towards the heavenly sky above. The saints stand on a ground of gold, and the artist took care to create their shadows. 2 doves drink from a fountain, and the fountain is representing the water of baptism. The winged symbols of the four evangelists, or the tetramorph, border the lower edges of the sky. We start with the eagle, representing the evangelist John. The eagle is a spiritual figure of the sky, in keeping with the Gospel of John's representation of Christ's divine nature. Mark is represented by a lion, a symbol of both the monarchy and courage, as Christians should be courageous on the path to salvation. Matthew is represented by the winged man or angel, representing Christ's incarnation and human nature. Finally, we have the ox representing the Gospel of Luke. The ox is a symbol of sacrifice, of service, and of strength, representing characteristics that Christians should follow. Our last image is what you would see as you depart. The lunette above the exit is a scene of Jesus as the Good Shepherd. This representation was inspired by scenes in the Roman catacomb paintings. This is an earthly scene. Jesus is in a natural landscape with plants with rocky hills behind him and a blue sky above. Once again, the artist has taken care to represent the shadows cast by the figures, and the style is rooted in the naturalistic classical tradition. A halo Jesus is dressed in gold and purple, and he tenderly caresses one of his flock. The sheep are arranged symmetrically to symbolize the equality of all before God. As always, I hope you have enjoyed this journey to the Galla Placidia Mausoleum. It's quite a moving experience to come inside and to be surrounded by this mystical world.
Sancte Spiritus perturbatam mentem meam sedato, et claritatem dona amicudem et fiducia, in tua misericordia et amore, beata Maria, Mater intercede